a provider of information, ideas, studies, and alternatives to members of the Congress, to members of the administration, to America's national news media, and we do it on a nonpartisan basis. We make it available to everybody. And our work on Taiwan does go back to the very earliest days. My colleagues were very, very much involved, as was I, in the original writing and drafting and then the passage in early 1980 of the Taiwan Relations Act, immediately after Jimmy Carter very precipitously, I think, changed our diplomatic relationship from Taiwan to the mainland. And this involvement between Heritage and Taiwan there's so much to it, it's so rich that we forget some of the basics. When you took us to National Chongqing University today for a visit, it reminded me that there had been a 40-year program with Purdue University in Lafayette, Indiana, on engineering and science that was under the USAID program.
Yes.
Well, Taiwan has graduated out of AID. So many other countries around the world are still dependent on AID or other countries' foreign aid. Taiwan is long past that. Taiwan is now a vibrant democracy, a bipartisan or tripartisan democracy with people freely elected. You believe in the rule of law, just as we do. I always carry with me my copy of the American Constitution, just so I've got it to remind myself. And your people all believe in the rule of law. So you have come so far, and that's what I guess the high point is to have been able to visit and to meet with in Washington, other places in the United States, or over here, not only political leaders, but business leaders, religious leaders, academic leaders, to be able to share their enthusiasm for what's going on here, and as Taiwan has developed so rapidly. That has to have been the high point, is the people I've gotten to know and the opportunity to exchange ideas and to help others appreciate what Ken Sheffer called freedom. We all believe in the freedom philosophy, and it's something that that you have embraced here in Taiwan. The low point, frankly, has to have been those dismal days in the late 1970s when all of a sudden we were all confronted, and you were very much confronted, and I was over here at that time, by the uncertainty caused by this sudden changing of the nameplates. We no longer had an embassy here. The troops were going to be removed from Taiwan. We now had an embassy in Beijing. What was going to happen? Well, the Congress, very much on a bipartisan basis, Senator Claiborne Pell on the Democrat side, Senators Barry Goldwater and Jesse Helms on the Republican side, and in the House, the then chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Clem Zablocki, working with Ed Derwinski and some other senior Republicans. They came together and they drafted, passed, and did it very vigorously, the Taiwan Relations Act that now defines that relationship. So what had been very low became predictable again for your people and for our people in terms of the bilateral relationship. And it's been really just a love of my professional life to be able to come back here and see the vitality and the growth of free institutions here in Taiwan. I mean, we have, if we make comparisons, again, whether it's in religious matters, between the free exercise of religion here versus what happens on the other side of the Taiwan Straits. And then we were discussing before, of course, the need for defensive weapons sales here in order to protect the people of Taiwan. There are challenges ahead, yes, but the spirit and the human ingenuity of the Taiwan people is really been the high point, to be able to work with so many good friends for so many years.
Ed, do you recall, that being said, coming a long way for everyone is, I think, the expression. In '82 or '83, when you came to us, to me, and said, we're going to start an Asian Studies Center, people thought we were crazy. And they didn't want to do it. And I remember preparing the documents to give to our board to convince them that, look, this is the future as we see it. And the argument was, it's a waste of time and money, perhaps, by some, thought that. So we've come a long way, too, internally at Heritage. It would not have been possible had we not started visiting here so early on and had the right arguments in our pockets and had sort of those personal relationships with people like Winston and his father and others where we could say, this is really going to matter to America. Maybe not tomorrow, but the next generation will depend on the Pacific, Asia Pacific, for its livelihood, perhaps. And our board, we went there, and you'll remember, it was a hard sell. So we've come a long way, too.
It really has been a hard sell, Ken, because back then, our trade with Europe was much more than our trade with Asia. Today, America's trade with Asia is more than twice what it is with Europe. So the whole shift of American policy has been toward Asia, and we were very much at the forefront and working with our good friends in Taiwan because this was one of the critical flashpoints. And today, it's not a flashpoint so much as Taiwan is a bright beacon for democracy and freedom throughout Asia. And boy, you've come a long way.
There's an interesting point to note about the current relationship in the Taiwan Relations Act. Most treaties that we were talking about before are only the matter of the Senate to ratify the treaties. The Taiwan Relations Act was passed by both houses of the Congress, so the House as well as the Senate have an interest in making sure that that's not in any way vitiated.
I appreciate that your comments, Ed and General Mills and Mr. Ken Schaffer. I saw this booklet on your constitution. You gave me one, remember?
Yes, yes.
In the Heritage Foundation.
Yeah.
I read that several times. Okay, people are not only have the right to pursue freedom, but also the pursuit of happiness.
Yes.
I agree very much with your forefathers, the founding fathers of the United States. I think people here admire that very much, and we are trying to pursue that too. So this booklet it was written by people with tremendous wisdom, no more than 200 years ago. And I think we still, human race as a whole, can still learn from it. I was quite alarmed in the last 2 or 3 months, I think I read some article written by some American economist saying that our system of capitalism seems to be not working as good as the communist system because apparently on a short span of time, it seems that the communist system's economy is forging ahead while we have problems. So I think it is important. Let us not waver by short-term problems. Because in the long term, I strongly believe in the thinking and the wisdom of your founding fathers, that we should pursue freedom, and with freedom only we can have happiness and prosperity.
Absolutely, that's what we're about, and that's what we share, Winston. And you're right in terms of going back to fundamentals and looking at the longer term rather than the short term.
How many of those have you handed out, Ed?
We've now distributed in the United States more than 4 million copies. Of the
I was one of the 4 million, I think.
4 million and one with the copy I gave to you.
Yeah. General Mills, let me direct the next question to you.